Flame on! Wrong character. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Kwing, and welcome to our Let's Play channel. Because you all requested it, here he is, Firestorm. So mash that like button, because I know you guys are happy about today's spotlight. Alright, so Firestorm's minifigure can fly and shoot fire, or in this case, laser fire. He's immune to fire, duh, but, you know, that should be a given. And Ronnie will cost you about 350,000 studs, and he's found in the Hall of Justice. Now, the origin of Firestorm goes like this. He was created in 1978 and was made popular by the Super Friends, well, the final seasons. He also had a 5-issue comic book series, but it got canceled like most New 52 books these days. Firestorm became a member of the Justice League of America in the late 70s and early 80s. Now, did you know that Firestorm was actually created by Jerry Conway, the guy who killed Gwen Stacy in Spider-Man? Yeah, he's the dude that Spider-Man fans don't like. Hence why a lot of Firestorm's traits seemed very similar to the web-slinger. Conway used to work at Marvel, which that was probably a dead giveaway, and then in the late 70s and early 80s he joined DC, so he was a Benedict Arnold. This also explains why Firestorm defended New York City, which made him one of the first DC heroes to ever protect a real city instead of a fictional one in the DC universe. Alright, so his story goes like this. Ordinary high school student Ronnie Raymand was in a nuclear explosion with his teacher, Nobel Prize winning physicist Martin Stein. The two basically fused together, and thus the Nuclear Man was born, aka Firestorm, you know, cause project, never mind. In the beginning, Ronnie is the guy in the control of the shared body, more or less, but over time, the two personalities actually work as individuals rather than becoming one personality. So it's kind of like a split personality thing going around, kind of like schizophrenic, basically. Now, Ronnie is a comedian, and Stein is the straight man of the group. Together, they faced many evildoers like Killer Frost and Multiplex. And of course, Killer Frost and Ronnie have this thing, so yeah. Unlike other versions of Firestorm, Ronnie and the Professor are later able to separate from one another, though they stay close by should they need to fuse and become a superhero again. You definitely see this in the comic when Ronnie gets accepted to a college in Pittsburgh and Professor Stein ends up taking a job as, well, a professor there. Later, after Conway, the writer, left DC in 1986 because he didn't like the direction that DC was going, so he just abruptly left. Firestorm's stories reflected the times now, and mostly the Cold War between Russia and the US in the mid to late 80s. You know, the nuclear arms race. They also made Stein become terminally ill because of all the radiation, which made sense if you think about it, because, you know, they are like a walking nuke. During a fight with a Soviet Union nuclear man type person, Ronnie and Professor Stein were separated, though in a bad way. In fact, I believe Professor Stein's body is like disintegrated, and then he just becomes like this floating head. So basically what happens is Ronnie and his enemy fuse to become the new Firestorm. Not long after this, in 1989, Firestorm became a fire elemental character. He also did a lot of international stuff, more, you know, political stuff. The rest gets too confusing to explain. Firestorm's books were very confusing, I will tell you that. All you need to know about during this time, the Russian dude and Ronnie become separated, and Professor Stein becomes his own Firestorm by himself. He then leaves Earth to become its protector from some strange stuff. Hey, it was the 90s, what do you want? Okay, so Fire Elemental guy is gone, and for a time, Ronnie is actually a solo hero. He doesn't even need the Russian dude, but it comes at a cost. His powers actually give him cancer like Professor Stein had, because of, well, you guessed it, the radiation. See, no good comes from superheroes exposing themselves to radiation. It's poison! Anyway, during his chemo, Ronnie's powers somehow get restored, and even though he has borrowed time, he becomes a superhero once again and gets invited into the Justice League Task Force, which was the extreme Justice League of the 90s. It was stupid. Though without Stein's voice in his head and, you know, brilliant mind, Ronnie is unable to use all of his abilities he learned from being with Stein. So Firestorm basically isn't as good as he used to be. Eventually, though, Stein returns to Earth and heals Ronnie, but he doesn't merge with him anymore because he's like, I'm my own hero, I don't really need to merge with, you know, you. You're doing fine. So Ronnie's actually happy for a while. He gets cured of his cancer thanks to Fire Elemental, and oddly enough works with Captain Atom, a walking nuke, and a team of other radiation heroes. If you think about it, this guy really loves to live dangerously, surrounding himself with all these unhealthy things. Eventually it catches up with him, and he dies. But he doesn't die in the way that you think. Ronnie's actually killed during the Identity Crisis event when Shadow Thief stabs him with Shining Knight's sword, which then causes Raymand to explode because, his containment field has been destroyed. But the interesting thing about this, his essence actually gets transferred to a new Firestorm, a thief named Jason Roche, I think is how you say his name. So I don't really want to get into Jason. All you need to know about him is, other than his humor, he was kind of the opposite of Ronnie and was a criminal. Though his friend Mick, which becomes a part of the Firestorm Matrix, was very similar to Ronnie's personality, though Mick dies during Infinite Crisis. Stein actually returns to Earth and saves Firestorm thinking it's Ronnie because the guy's about to die, only to learn that his friend Ronnie has already been gone for some time, and he merges with Jason to become an even more powerful Firestorm using the fire elemental powers. See, I told you it's weird. So Stein and Jason are now one for a while, and then the professor gets kidnapped, and Jason's unable to become Firestorm. He meets a girl called Firehawk, they merge together, and they become the new Firestorm. Before Blackest Night, Jason actually becomes a member of the Justice League because he helps Batman with something. Now Ronnie actually comes back during Blackest Night as a zombie or Black Lantern and basically kills Jason's girlfriend. He then absorbs Jason in his grief into the Firestorm Matrix inside, Ronnie. Basically, some stuff happens, the two fight Necron, and Ronnie becomes human again, so he becomes alive somehow. I don't really remember. During Brightest Day, which is the event after Blackest Night, he becomes the leader of the Firestorm Matrix again, but must fuse with Jason, and Jason basically hates Ronnie for murdering his girlfriend. They fight a lot and eventually learn the real reason they keep fighting is because the Black Lantern version of Firestorm survived inside the Firestorm Matrix. Is everybody paying attention? Because I'm getting lost just trying to explain this. So basically, the zombie Firestorm now goes by the name Deathstorm. And his plan is to steal the white power battery, bring back Necron, and cause all kinds of problems for the DC Universe. But at the same time, having Ronnie and Jason as this constant conflict with one another, they're going to destroy the world from like a massive nuclear explosion by making the Matrix unstable. All you need to know about the Brightest Day book, Ronnie and Jason are fighting so much, and during the fight with Deathstorm, they get separated. Before that, though, they did go to the Justice League to get them to help deal with a lot of the Black Lanterns that were brought back, like out of thin air, even the ones they killed. So during a final battle, Deathstorm breaks the two out of the Firestorm Matrix and tries to turn Ronnie to salt, but Fire Elemental, Martin Stein, gets in the way and is turned to salt, meaning he most likely dies. But not before Stein is able to pass all his powers to Ronnie, creating a now super-powered Fire Elemental Firestorm guy, who easily destroys Deathstorm and prevents the white power battery from being destroyed or something. After the battle, Ronnie tries to bargain with the white entity inside the power battery to restore the professor. And he's angered when it says, no, I can't do that, the guy's salt. And he's like, well, you brought me back to life. And it's like, yeah, it doesn't work that way, the guy's salt. Now the New 52, I didn't read all that much. All you need to know is that Firestorm's past is altered a lot. Ronnie is basically just your normal high schooler, and he's a senior, and Jason is a nerd. The Firestorm Matrix is Martin Stein's creation. There's an explosion, and the two boys are fused together. Professor Stein is not part of that at all. But he does come back as an evil version of himself from Earth 3, or the Crime Syndicate world, who imprisons all the Justice League inside the Firestorm Matrix and sets the Matrix to explode, which would destroy Earth 52 during Forever Evil. Afterwards, thanks to Martian Manhunter and Batman, and of course Wonder Woman's lasso of truth, they're able to save Firestorm and all the Justice League and defuse the bomb, save the world, except, Grayson gets screwed from the whole thing. Okay, as for other media, like I said, Firestorm appeared in the Super Friends, the later years, and was a key character mostly. He was a teenage hero like Robin and Cyborg. Now, Justice League Unlimited writer Dwayne McDuffie, who I loved, really liked Firestorm and wanted to bring him in the show, but instead they offered more roles for Booster Gold because they really didn't know how to portray Firestorm and which version of the character to use. Jason and Ronnie, Ronnie and Professor Stein, Jason and Firehawk. It was so confusing. However, in Batman Brave and the Bold, Ronnie Raymand appeared as an older jock gym coach type guy, and Jason was a teenage nerd. During a lab explosion, the two are fused into one, and Batman gives them like a containment suit to keep them from dying, and also teaches them how to use their nuclear powers. A difference from the comic and a lot of other versions of the characters, the smart guy actually has control of the body, and the dumb guy is the brain. It was a gag that the show's creators loved, and it was a way to tribute an idea that Dwayne McDuffie had. Oh, and get this, Killer Frost is Ronnie's ex in the show. Now for The Flash. Now, Ronnie is in the show, and of course is Caitlin Snow's fiance, aka Killer Frost. He tried to save everyone by deflecting Star Labs' particle accelerator, and he was thought dead, but reappears in The Flash vs. Arrow as Firestorm at the end or something. Well, he appears in the episode, I forget when. It was a while ago. He saves the Flash from Reverse Flash and Man in the yellow suit, and tells Caitlin to stop looking for him and flies away with his head on fire. Later, after Flash defeats the Pied Piper, Cisco learns that Ronnie and Professor Stein have merged together, creating Firestorm. Now, unlike the comics, Stein has full control of the body and can hear Ronnie's thoughts and see his memories, yet doesn't allow Ronnie to take control. So they have like kind of a schizophrenic thing going on. In fact, the good doctor of Star Labs even gives them psychotic drugs to like kind of stop a lot of the voices in Firestorm's head. At the end of the episode, Firestorm tries to kill himself to avoid a nuclear explosion. He fails though, even though the Matrix is attached to both Ronnie and Stein by Caitlin Snow. Luckily for the Flash, he's fast enough to escape before the explosion happens, and it's hinted at the end of the episode by General Eiling that Ronnie might still be alive. He says, "Bring me Firestorm." And that's it, that's all, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to like and comment for more LEGO Batman 3 videos, and let me know in the comments below who you'd like to see next, and I'll do my best. We're currently having some severe internet issues, and it takes a really long time to upload videos, as you've seen. I hope you guys and gals have a great rest of your day and a lovely weekend if I don't see you again for a while. I hope you guys will join me at the start of tomorrow for Monster Hunter 4. God bless and happy gaming. Thanks for watching.